Athens is great.
Good.
I grew up like right near there, Franklin County,
Oh,
Georgia.
cool.
So
Oh,
like
yeah,
40
yeah, I know
minutes, 40 minutes northeast of there. But poor Lake
Yeah,
Hartwell
yeah.
is. Woody's familiar with Lake Hartwell. He goes down there and parasails on the lake sometimes.
Right on. Right on. I've gone water skiing on Lake Hartwell at night before. That was pretty entertaining.
Wow. Can you
That
see?
water's black.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's full of like mercury from that battery plant in Clemson too. So I'm sure I'm like,
Allegedly.
There's a battery plant in Clemson
Allegedly.
leaking into the
That
lake.
particular
Alleged.
cancer cluster had nothing to do with Energizer's plant, okay?
exactly. Yeah, when the DNR is like, do not eat one fish out of Lake Hartwell every 5 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's
Yeah,
all
I've
right.
heard- Someone
didn't know
told me
that.
once, and it was a redneck that told me, so he's just making it up probably, but that there's places where there's pools of mercury at the bottom of the lake just sitting there. Like,
Really? Wow.
Well, it can't be, right? That sounds insane.
Is that how Mercury works?
Yeah, that's how mercury works. It would sit
Yeah,
down.
I mean
there.
that's how it works. I mean, man, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it would get washed and collected down that far, like down the lake that far.
Yeah,
but I mean,
don't
that's
know.
how it would appear. I wouldn't be surprised.
But there's all kind of wives' tales about that lake. I know there's supposedly a lot of structures underneath it in places where they flooded valleys. So there
supposedly are
structures under there.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived on a Lake Lanier over in the center of Georgia for a while, and there's a racetrack in a couple of towns down there, all kind of stuff. They came in in the '60s when the Corps of Engineers built those lakes, and they just bought everybody out. There's cemeteries down there. I had a boat for a while with a pretty good depth finder, and you could actually see the structure sometimes. You go over it, you can see buildings and bridges and all kind of stuff down there. It was crazy.
That's cool. And then I know for a fact people have caught piranha out of there, but that doesn't mean it. Like people like piranhas or sharks or something, but one piranha in the lake is just
Well, there's never
an
one.
aberration.
Yeah.
Well, even there's so I actually learned something about piranhas today, and you probably already know that piranhas aren't the nightmare villain of movie that they are in movies. That you jump in the river, they're not going to turn you to a skeleton. They don't do that. But in some circumstances, apparently, in some circumstances, the jungle will eat a small pond or lake. Literally, the undergrowth keeps encroaching into the water and slowly absorbing that body of water, and all the life in it turns into just piranhas because they're the apex predator down there. They eat everything else until all you have is starving piranhas who have been eating their week for who knows how long. And so the water's getting smaller and smaller, so they're more and more concentrated. They're starving, and if you fall in there, they will turn you into a skeleton.
Yeah,
So-
piranhas are a problem. I don't know. I don't know a lot of people that have been hurt by them. Like so I keep fish, and I've been around fish since like the 90s. This is like fresh and saltwater aquariums. YouTube knows this, so it feeds me piranha feeding videos all the time. You put a dead mouse in an aquarium, whoa, they just attack like a feeding frenzy. And it makes me think that if a person were to jump in on a larger scale, that you'd have a similar thing. But I don't know of any people who've been eaten like that.
Yeah, according to my YouTube, we'll be okay. But unless you find that scary little pond at the jungle ate and you fall in there, that's a perfect horror movie. That's a perfect horror movie. Have it be all about an area where that happens.
What, avoiding a small pond?
Well, okay, like maybe there's a lot of them and we can't see them or something, Taylor. Just go with it. I found a scary monster in the wild.
Okay.
I've been down to some jungles in South America before, and every time I see the water, that's the first thing I think of is like, man, piranhas. Which I know, obviously not. There's kids and cattle and all kind of people in those lakes and rivers all the time. But yeah, it crosses your mind.
Yeah.
But same thing, it's like imagination. I mean, it's like snorkeling or diving in the ocean. I mean, you're in the same body of water as some big ass shark out there. You just got to run the numbers and assume they're not going to be right where you are.
There's a scarier freshwater fish than the piranha, the candiru, candiru. Do you guys know this one? Yes. It swims up your dick and hurts you, and you have to have it like surgically removed and be infected.
It has barbs that face backwards, so it's up your urethra, and if you wanted to pull it out, it'd be like pulling a barbed arrow out of your pee hole. It's absurd.
I did not expect everyone else to know about this fish. I thought I had a unique thing.
We're men. We hear it once and we're forever afraid. I'm not afraid of that catfish in the least. I'll Donkey Kong him. But one of those urethra creepers scares the shit out of me. And that's what I was going to say. I'm less afraid of big things. Like if you
Yeah,
What an
I'm
evil
kind of with you.
creature.
if you get thrown in the jungle, they'll be like, oh, one of those big cats or whatever, get you one of those panthers or whatever they have down there, those big cats, leopard, whatever it is. Well, I don't know. How many are there? Like, let's keep a lookout for them, right? We'll see them coming. They're 100 pounds. That little fucker, we're not going to see him coming. He's going to be right up your pee hole. And it's game
Maybe it
over.
feels
then.
good at first.
Yeah,
No,
I
it doesn't,
got
Woody.
I got a friend of mine.
Doesn't feel good
that
at
owns
first.
a-
He might.
You're right. It
Yeah.
would make sense, like evolutionary wise, or an evolutionary.
They're not
for
looking for
it to
pee
feel
holes.
good, for you to invite it, be like, you know what, this.
I don't remember exactly what their life process normally is, but I don't think they're searching for pee holes to get in. They think you're something else.
When leeches bite
They
you and
think
suck
you're
your
something.
skin, don't they have some like anesthesia, like localized
some
anesthesia, so it
mosquitoes.
doesn't
They do.
hurt?
And
Yeah.
an anticoagulant to
Yeah.
keep the blood from clotting.
Mosquitoes do too, though, and they suck.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
yeah.
not saying they're good. I'm saying that evolutionarily, if that's a word,
They're good at their job.
it makes sense for them to have that little local anesthesia. And it makes sense for this penis fish to be able to do that in a way that's either fun or pleasurable. Or
I don't think it's looking for dicks, Woody. Again, I think it's
Yeah.
looking for
Yeah,
something else.
There's some fetishes out there, and maybe that's a whole level of tourism. But I got a friend of mine that owns an adult store, and they sell all those like rubber suits and underwear and stuff. And if I ever am going to go swimming and down in the Amazon, I think I'm gonna get me the tightest pair of solid silicone drawers I could find to make sure nothing is getting up the leg of those shorts.
Oh yeah, at
This
least
is
wear
genius.
a condom.
Man.
Oh,
I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be
like
in there.
condom and a rubber band, so it can't come off.
I'm gonna
my
go
dick's gonna
full
be. I'm gonna.
gimp suit.
My dick falls off.
I'm gonna triple down on my Blue Chew to make sure the condom stays on.
Oh
Man,
my God.
what a terrible fish that is. Man, the
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
guy who dealt with that, everybody must have called him a liar.
I swear it's in there.
Ah, my dick hole, and there's like Ted jumped
You're
in
not
the
getting
water
me
and
to
he's
look at your dick,
freaking
Dave.
out. Yeah,
Please look at it.
this is the same story he told yesterday and the day before and the day before. Yeah, we're not falling for it anymore.
Dying from one of those
Just-
big snakes down there would be pretty nightmarish as well. I've seen a bunch of those things where they attacked people. The one guy got bit in the arm and it caught an artery or something. It caught some big blood vessel of some kind, and he nearly bled out just from the bite because they've got big fucking teeth. He had its head. He was on Rogan. He's like, "This is the one." He's got its head. This is
Ooh.
the one that bit me, and this is the one that nearly killed me.
So he
And
won.
Its head
Wow.
was like way bigger than you think a snake's head could ever be. Like way too big for a fucking snake's head, man. It
Oh,
looked
yeah.
more like a small dog or something.
Dude, if a python
Yeah.
or anaconda gets you, like I feel like you're going to die with a lot of lead time. Like
Oh, now you
there's
got
a
a
lot of
knife.
screaming.
You just need a knife.
Yeah, there's some like crazy theory, like you're supposed to like relax so it doesn't squeeze you too hard, and then like let it start eating your feet. But then when it like gets to your waist, you're supposed to like cut its like the inner part of its tendons or its mouth. So I mean, there's some crazy thing of like just relax, and I don't think I could do it. I had a friend that was into like
Just
snakes. and
relax.
This is
reptiles and
the
shit.
worst idea.
Oh, I know. I was like how like that's a lot of faith. You're gonna be
You
able
want to
to
wait till you've been
but-
fully swallowed,
Once
that-
you're
that's-
waist
God.
deep into a
then
snake.
explode.
I
See, the
had a
snake is
friend
gonna
that had
expect a guy
16
resisting.
foot-
Look at that shit.
Yeah.
Look at that
Oh, there
snake's
he
head.
is. Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's a scary snakehead. I had a friend of mine that had a 16-foot, I guess it was a python or something. And that snake ate like chickens and rabbits. And it would like it had like a whole room it lived in. It would sit up and could pretty much sit up like eye level and just stare you down. And like, I mean, we've all been around snakes. I mean, there's snakes look at you, but this snake made like eye contact. Like he was sizing you up. I was never comfortable in that house. That house is two roommates, friends of mine who are roommates. They had like 30, 40 snakes of all kinds, 10-foot snake, 16-foot snake, bunch of poisonous snakes, a whole bunch of tarantulas, a 2-year-old boy, and a cat.
Jesus.
And when you went over there, the cat would just like lean on your legs, like, take me with you. Like, everything in that house wanted to kill that cat. And the cat would just be like, please, just, I promise I'm going to eat much. Just get me out of this damn house with all these scary things. And the 2-year-old, that poor cat, man, that cat was just like hollow eyed. He had like that Vietnam chopper pilot look, like he had seen too much, that poor
I'm
cat,
sure he
man.
had. What a horrible
I'm-
existence for the cat. and
I'm
the
actually
2-year-old.
pretty scared of snakes. I didn't like not the snake. It's not like I see a rat snake or something. I'm afraid of him. I'll pick him up. But being in Texas and seeing those real rattlesnakes and understanding how big a rattlesnake is compared to the bullshit that we've got in Georgia, man, I'm afraid of those things. Its head is so wide, and like the way it articulates its jaw. The guy we were hanging out with out there, he had a pet one, and it was so big around, and it was just, it's all muscle. And it's like, dude, he's got as much muscle there as like a big strong man does in his arm. And that's not even what he does. That's a rattlesnake. He'll kill me if he bites me.
Do you have copperheads?
Yeah,
they say we do, and I'm sure we do. But man, there were just never any on my dad's property. There's a creek and ponds there. Actually, we'd see them in the water sometime, but we'd shoot them quick. Maybe we just killed them all out, because every time we'd see one, we'd 22 pistol and just pop him.
Yeah, we had a lot of water. Yeah, we had a lot of water moccasins around in North Georgia where I was. Copperheads were the most common. Rattlesnakes were relatively rare because rattlesnake's kind of shy. Rattlesnake is way higher up the evolutionary chain than a copperhead or a water moccasin. Rattlesnake, they can control whether they inject venom or not, whereas a copperhead or water moccasin, it's just like a syringe. Rattlesnake can actually control it because they have a much more elaborate hemotoxin, neurotoxin blend, and they cannot regenerate that very quickly. So if they were to waste too much of that venom on defense, for example, they may starve to death before they can, tag a rabbit or a field mouse or whatever. Whereas a copperhead or water moccasin, they're just making it all day. They will just bite you nonstop. So rattlesnakes tend to be pretty shy, staying away from people, but copperheads and water moccasins will just come look for you for the fun of it, it seems sometimes. And they were pretty rough. But Ed Bolian, my friend who runs VINwiki, up until just recently, he had this really, really sweet snake named Sunny. She was about an 11-foot, I think he's called a banana boa constrictor, I guess, kind of a white with a little yellow. And I don't make this up. She was like the sweetest natured snake I've ever been around. Like sometimes even like if your friends got like a pet snake, they'll kind of sit, sort of coil back and just kind of wait, check out the scene. They look like they might like strike out and tag you or something. But Sunny was just like always just kind of cruising around. She never stopped moving. She never paused or gave you that feeling like she was thinking about biting you or wrapping on you. Yeah, she was just in and out around you, licking in your ear, just cruising around, just meeting people. She was literally like the sweetest snake. And he'd post pictures of his kids, with the snake, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, you're risking it." But that snake was so mellow and just so well fed and so well accustomed to people. He'd had her since she was the size of a pencil, probably. Oh, she just passed away eventually. She had a cancer actually. But she lived 12, 13 years, I think. I can't remember exactly how old she was. But anyway, just a really sweet-natured snake. And one of the few snakes I've ever been around that I was never a little leery of. She was just super cool. And it was
you talk about the eye contact. The eye contact, it's weird. But that snake's eyes are so scary. And I don't think he was looking at my eyes, but he was just looking at, he was definitely looking at me. He was looking at me. And I'm looking at him. And it's like, he knows I'm here and he wants to kill me. That's so fucking clear right now. Like, he doesn't need to be able to talk for us to get that across, because he's giving me he's just like growling. If snakes could growl, his tail.
Oh, yeah.
And the plan was for me to handle it on video. So they're like, "This is the snake you'll be handling tomorrow." And I'm like, yeah. Good thing we didn't like bitch out and get a little one, huh? Yeah. I like that you guys like, are we gonna shake him up, make him good and mean like this tomorrow too? Like, what the fuck is going on, guys? So like, why is he so angry? Did you been telling him that I've been talking shit, like hyping him up for this? And that night in the hotel, I had a nightmare about the next day that it bit me right here, like sort of between your thumb and your forefinger, the back of your hand, and that I lost that part of my hand, that it like rotted out and I lost it.
That'd be cool.
And the next day I was like, I'm not gonna fuck with the snake. I'm not handling the snake. Just so everybody knows. Yes, I have pussied out. No, I will not be handling the snake.
You saw that as like a premonition.
I'd have done the same thing, man. Yeah, I don't mess around with that kind of stuff.
If you have a dream about something like that, like, look, I don't believe in magic and horse shit and anything like that, but I'll tell you, my cousin dreamt that they were jumping off this quarry into water. They were doing it regularly. He had a dream that, somebody died. He's like, I don't feel like going today. I dreamt somebody died. He said this to us. Me and my dad were sitting there. It's like, yeah, don't go there. That shit's dangerous. We've been telling you. Kid died that day. Kid died that day.
Oh, wow.
Fell in there, hit his head on some water, drowned. Yeah, at the quarry. Was it related? No, heart attack. He was just having a picnic at the quarry.
Yeah,
he jumped in, hit his head, and fucking drowned, dude. You jump in quarries and shit.
Yeah, don't jump in quarries. They're full of rocks.
There's no way I was going to tempt fate that hardcore and grab that fucking thing that's evolved for the last 80 million years to destroy me. They're so scary to look at.
Emotionlessly too. That's what I would be nervous about a snake, because it can be cool forever and then just not be. Like I saw this online photo. This was a few years ago, but it was some viral picture someone probably put on Twitter, and it was like a snake owner who was like, my snake is the sweetest constrictor around. Every day she lines up and lays right next to my son, my 3-year-old, and would never mess with it. And someone, like, most comments were like, oh, what a gentle creature. And one person was like, hey, I don't want to rain on your parade. It's doing that every day to see at what point it can consume your child. It's laying next to it to see how much longer it needs to get. Like, apparently they do that. They will like line themselves up to something long ways to see if they are able to consume that. And so if you're ever laying on the ground and an enormous snake slithers up next to you, don't assume benevolence.
Cuddles, not cuddles.
I promise.
We're not getting
Hi,
fed today.
spooning. It's like spooned.
Yeah, it's spooning me. It's spooning me hard.
It's forking me now. It's forking me.
Yeah, that would be a horrible way to go. I'd rather get. Actually, no. It probably takes a long time to die from the venom too, unless you get real.
They're not venomous. They
No, I mean, I was going to compare the
you.
constrictor death to the venom death, but it's not like a venom death is going to be real quick, right?
It's
I mean, some of those, like those bushmasters and some of those snakes, like I was in India one time, and they told us to like always check your toilet for cobras before you get, and you know, and I mean, the toilet cobra sounds like a joke. I made my buddy Travis Bell and I have a joke about a toilet cobra. That's something entirely different.
Yeah.
But apparently at some point, the cobras in the cities were getting really bad there. So the government issued like a bounty on dead cobras. So what people started doing was like catching cobras, but instead of turning them in, they were breeding them at home, making more cobras, and then turning all those cobras in for the bounty. The government figured out what was up. Then everybody's like, all right, well, I'm not keeping these cobras around. So they let them go. Now there's like 20 times more cobras than there were before, and they apparently come up the pipes and will be like in your toilet, and like they're like, don't just pop the lid and sit down because there could be a cobra in your toilet. I was like, this is not the country for me.
Yeah, you're in India, like you're going to be spending some time on the toilet.
That's
I would imagine
one of my favorite scary movie moments, because in every scary movie, when some crazy shit like that happens, or when someone tells the character, hey, check the toilet at night for cobras and check the attic for ghouls, just so you know, good night. And the person will be like, shake it off and be like, well, we're still staying. In the movie Event Horizon, they see this horrible recording on the computer of how the previous people on the ship had been tortured to death. And Lawrence Fishburne goes, we're leaving. just no talking about it. We're leaving. Like they all start moving right then. Like, we're going home. And that cobras in the toilet might be a go home kind of moment for me, especially if I found one in my toilet.
Yeah, and I for the record, I did not find any cobras near my toilet, nor did I even see a cobra other than like one in the market that the guy was playing with that I'm sure had been defanged or something. But yeah, just the concept of toilet cobra, or you're just like thinking like, all right, well, if I am in here for more than 90 seconds, like I need to get out of here fast. What if a cobra shows up while I'm using the toilet? Like, there's just cannot be enough time. Yeah, it was
terrible timing for both of you.
Exactly.
What country was that? India?
India. I mean, in this
that would be
Cobra's
you and the Cobra's worst day ever. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I was. It's same thing. Similar thing. I was in Vietnam one time, and I was kind of hiking around on this river. I was looking for some airheads or whatever, just kind of poking around. And this lady was out like tending to her fields, and the only word I guess she knew in English was cobra. And I see her like waving her arms, and she's just yelling, pointing at me like cobra. And I was like, "Oh, all you got to say." I was back out of there. Yeah, there's some scary animals on this planet, but cobras are right up at the very top for me, man. I was being afraid of cobras. I've ended up in a lot of places with cobras, but thankfully, I've not had a run in.
Damn, you've been to a lot of snake-rich countries.
I have. That's kind of like why going to like Alaska is great because like there's no snakes.